Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Ryan Urban, author of Business Owner's Guide to Money and Safe and Smart Retirement. He sold his financial advisor in 2022 and now hosts a podcast that's by the same name, the Business Owner's Guide to Money, and now who provides only hourly fee only financial guidance to clients. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Ajay, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to India, and I'm sure not just in India, but it will be benefiting to a lot of people all across the globe today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, and many morrows to come. So to understand, let's start with this, Ryan. You talk about mistakes people make about money. You talk about the Business Owner's Guide to Money. Where does this money live? Because the banks are supposed to hold money, but the banks are also going bankrupt. So they can go down. You get a salary, it vanishes within a week. So where does this money, live actually? It comes to you and it goes away. Let's start with this.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of this, Ajay, has to do with planning the business, planning and operating the business. Now, what we want to do with that money is we have to use it smartly, but we have to, more than anything else, and you talked about mistakes. The biggest mistake a business owner is also the biggest mistake an investor makes. And that is they don't plan ahead. They don't plan ahead well. And I know that it's a boring topic, but I always preach to people, please, whatever you do, write a business plan. And the reason for that is you want the money that you do have come in to be used efficiently, so that you're talking about where is that money. We want to be sure that the money is going either to make the business bigger or to put into your pocket, right? So with a business plan, here's why I preach on the business plan so much. And that is a business. Oh, and by the way, don't use one of those robot business plans. You have to do it yourself. You have to do the hard work. And here is exactly why. A business plan, when you're writing a business plan, it forces you to answer questions that you haven't thought about yet. So it forces you to answer questions like, who is my competition? How do they work? How do they get new business? How do they keep business? What about all my numbers? How much is this going to cost me? How much are utilities going to be for my business? How much am I going to spend on advertising? How am I going to advertise? What am I not going to advertise on? It forces you to look at these questions. And I just mentioned 10 out of probably 100 that, and writing a good business plan might take you, a couple of days, a few days. This is not a pitch for me. I don't write business plans. I can help you with them, but a business plan is a very personal thing because it's about your specific business, where that money is coming in from, what it's doing, like you're talking about, and then what it's doing and how it goes out the back door. So by all means, if you take one thing away from this conversation, please do yourself a favor and write a business plan. And there's one more reason why you want to write a business plan. And that is, if you write it and you go through all the numbers and what you have to do to run this business, you may decide that you don't want to do it. Your business plan, just by putting it together, may tell you, you know what, I don't think I want to do this. Well, I would rather have you know that today than after all of your credit cards are maxed out. So please plan ahead and take your time with it and be honest with it.
Right, Ryan. So in terms of business plan, when you are planning for a business plan, what should be your plan? It should be in terms of scaling up your business, running your business efficiently, making it profitable, or should you just plan it because you need to also plan for your retirement? Can these two things go together, or only one thing should be separately once there? How does
that's a great question. It's all together, and really that's kind of the heart of the book, The Business Owner's Guide to Money, because we talk about it being at the intersection of your business finances and your personal finances. All right, it's the same thing. If you're a business owner, it's the same thing. because your personal finances are tied to the success of your business. And sometimes money from A is going into money from B. So when you're writing this business plan, and by the way, a business plan doesn't have to be written only before you start the business. You can also write it after you started the business. And you kind of made me think about that, because you can make changes along the way. So yeah, you're looking at, you have to make this thing, you have to make the business as profitable as possible. I'll tell you a very quick story. What happened just last year in July, I made a big life decision, and I announced it to everybody in my family. And that was, I was going to work 4 more years, and then I was going to sell my firm and get out, and I was going to retire. I made this big decision. 1 week later, the phone rings out of nowhere, and it's somebody who wants to buy my business. And on October 31st, on Halloween Day, we signed the documents, and I was gone. So you have to remember, and this is something that business owners kind of forget about because we're so busy running the operation. You're building equity in your business just like you're building equity in a house. And so to your point, you have to make your business profitable today, but you also have to make it so that it's profitable in the future, so that you can sell this thing and sell it for as much money as you can. So you have 2 things going on. This is not easy.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So let's try and get started with this business owner's retirement plan.
Mhm.
Many people, when they start a business, they think the business will take care of themselves as they take care of their business. But then it does not work always like that.
Yeah.
The way I agree with you, there has to be a plan. But then a normal person has, when a salaried person has a different way of planning his retirement. But a business owner is, I guess, if I see it, hardly anybody is planning for their retirement.
Yes.
They think, they can anytime detach themselves from their business, and the money will keep on coming into their account, and somebody else will able to take care of their business. And nowadays it's the day of fractional CMOs, CEOs, and everything fractional. And then that's what it's happening. It's a reality of life.
Yeah.
But in terms of a business owner's actual plan of retirement,
Mhm.
he wants to actually retire, and a lot of promoters keep on doing that, but that's a different story. In terms of a small business, medium-sized business, how should they plan for retirement? Because will they be able to work along with their business with that sort of a passion? Because many people say you start some work which you are passionate about.
Mhm.
And how should they plan what their retirement should look like?
Yeah.
Should they think about, okay, I'll buy something there, something, something by the beaches, and I will stay there all my life? How does it work? You advise a lot of people. You have sold your own financial advisory in 2022. Who better than you to tell? I know several things I've asked at the same time. You are the master for today, but all these things are so interrelated. I thought, why not ask them together so that you can answer them at your own pace?
Beautiful. When we do retirement income planning, in fact, in the book, I talk about how retirement income planning for a business is different than it is for an employee of a business. All right. So the 3 main things that you have when you're in retirement, you're going to have Social Security in America, right? I'm speaking about that. And yes, that's going to be around regardless of what you hear. You're going to have whatever money you have in your retirement funds, and you can do that in your business. You can use what's called an SEP, which is like a pension. You can use a simple IRA. You can use a 401k. So there are ways, wherever you are, if there's any kind of a retirement plan, you want to take advantage of that. And then the third leg of this is going to be when you sell your business. Now, let's say you've done all of that. Let's say you've had, you've grown whatever it is in a retirement plan of some kind, and then you have this lump sum of money after taxes, and you got to mitigate your taxes the best you can. But now, when you're ready to retire, and we can start planning for retirement when you're 40, just depending on the situation, we use what's called the 4% rule, and this is very simple. Remember, I told you line 1 is going to be Social Security, and then line 2 is going to be the 4% rule. The 4%, and this is not my rule, this is an industry rule. It says that on the day that you retire, you begin to take out 4% of your nest egg. So if you have $1 million, that's $40,000 a year, plus you might make 30,000 in Social Security, whatever it is. Okay. Well, the reason you're doing that is that the market is going to go up and down. And so when you're taking income out when the market is down, you're locking in those losses. So you can really only do about a 4% withdrawal. Then every year, give yourself a little cost of living increase, not much. But so that's how we do it. It's actually pretty simple. Now, the questions you're asking are so relevant to, obviously you talk to a lot of business owners because these are all these different balls they have to juggle in the air. You know, that's just part of our deal. And so, for example, then when I had my business selling, I had that lump sum, and then I had my SEP because that's what I used as a retirement plan, and then Social Security at some point. So it can be done. Now, in the book, and when we do the podcast and everything, we talk about, well, how can I possibly evaluate what my company is going to be like in 12 or worth in 12 or 15 years? You actually can. There are metrics you can use to have an estimation on what your business is going to be worth in, let's say, 15 years. If you just use basic growth schedules. Another thing that we talk about doing is growing your business by acquiring another business. And that could be done specifically for the reason of I'm doing this for my retirement fund. So there aren't that many moving parts. You might be surprised. There's retirement plans, there's your nest egg, and then you have to know how much you can take out every month and not run out of money. That's the 4% rule. So a business owner can do this. The problem is a business owner is already working 90 hours a week, and it's not so easy. So that's a good time to call somebody who can help you out with it.
Absolutely. You just talked about 90 hours a week. So if a business owner tells his family, like if a salaried person tells his family, or even if he or she does not say, the family knows that the retirement is coming, 50 years, and they start, planning for that, a bit of a slowdown in their career, the way they look at things in terms of how they are spending their money. But what about a business owner? He or she is so deep into their business and they are planning for retirement, perfectly all right. Will their family trust them that this guy is actually going to retire when he is working 90 hours a week? How does he slow down for the day of relaxation in his life? Does it happen? Does it not?
I don't know if I'm that guy to ask because I retired and I could 6 weeks later I was doing this again. I put my foot right back in it. So that's going to be a family thing, because when you go to sell your business, I'll tell you, I've been there. I mean, it's a very big decision and a very big moment. And I think with family communication, the business owner, there's so much going on in their mind, but the family communication has to be absolute top of mind, because your expenses, everything changes in retirement. And by the way, when you're retired, you're not quite as healthy maybe as you used to be when you were 35 years old. And so there are other considerations as well. I love that question. But yeah, this has to be a family matter. And so I wouldn't spring it on the family that you were selling the business or anything. But yeah, this has to be communication. Communication is important within your family and within your business, and they go hand in hand.
Absolutely. I'll come to the book part, the Business Owner's Guide to Money, and also your podcast. But in terms of after you have sold your business, like you have done, you plan out the money that you will spend. What do you do with the other part of money? Does it remain in the bank, or where do you invest?
Okay, here we go. So first of all, I'm going to bring up the dreaded B word. Okay, I hope everybody is sitting down because this scares a lot of people. Budget. You have to make a budget, and nobody likes doing it. My daughters, I can't get them to make a budget for them, and they're adults. You have to have a budget, because another super question, because remember I just told you the 4% rule and all that. Well, what happens if, let's say you figure it out, and let's say you're going to bring in $5,000 a month in retirement, but your budget is $6,000. Well, now what? All right. So that's when you have to go back to either A, you have to cut down your budget, B, you have to do things differently on the nest egg, or C, some combination therein. So half of this equation is your budget. is your outgo. And I've had that happen. I've done a lot of income plans where, we figured out using the 4% rule and this and that their income might be $7,000, and they were shocked. They got, that's more than I was expecting. But I've also had the other side where they say, I can't live on just that. I had somebody tell me they could only live on $150,000 a year one time. I'm like, really? What kind of a life do you have planned here? but the income planning process is not just the income, it's the outgo as well. Budget is terribly important, whether you want to do it or not. Learn how to use Microsoft Excel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now coming to your book, Ryan, the Business Owner's Guide to Money. What is this book about? Some things you have already spoken, but I'm sure you have written that book with great care. So I'm sure it has a lot of golden nuggets in it. Share a bit about that book. Who is this book for? I know it's for business owners, but just to understand again from you, who else can read it, and what exactly can they get out of that book, where they can get this book. And also you have written Safe and Smart Retirement. Both
Yeah.
are so interrelated. Help us understand.
I have one more coming out here before too long that's going to be investment related as well, but I don't have a name for it yet, so I'm still working on that. The Business Owner's Guide to Money primarily is written for small or mid-sized business owners. Now, we cover quite a few things. So we look at things like the available retirement plans. We look at how to make your business more valuable. Remember, I told you that there are things you can do today to increase the quality of your business and your income now that are going to help you when you go to sell. And we cover a lot about that because I want you to make more money now, and I want you to make more money when you ultimately sell your business. We talk about basic tax planning. Tax planning is very, very important because there are a few things, if you get hit bad on taxes, if you make the wrong decisions, that's a huge problem. And that compounds over the years. That's not good either. We look at how to get outside business financing. We talk about employer retirement plans. So just for the business owner, there are things called non-qualified retirement plans. You have to protect what you have. So there are different types of insurance that you want to have in there. And I call that the eating your broccoli part of this because it's not very exciting, but it still has to be done. You still have to protect yourself. So there's 11 chapters in the book. When we talk about how you can improve the value of your business, we look at 16 different things, and we go over those in the book as well. Safe and Smart Retirement is about safer money, and those have to do with things like life insurance and annuities. The new book I think is going to be called Smart Money Game Plan. And that goes into more things like stocks, mutual funds, ETFs. The thing is that the good news when it comes to finance and personal finance and making decisions, the good news is there's so many options out there. The bad news is that there are so many options out there, right? You have to find a way to go through your different options, and then you're going to narrow it down to what you are comfortable with, because you have to sleep at night. So don't listen to some guy on the television or some crazy guy like me on the internet tell you what to do. You have plenty of options out there. So when I work with people, what I do is I narrow it down. Out of 1,000 options, we ask a lot of questions and we narrow it down to 2 or 3. And I can tell them honestly, pick which one feels right to you, because I love all 3 of these ideas. Because you got to sleep at night. And if you make the wrong decision, if you do something too risky or not risky enough, what are you going to do? You're going to pull out. And then that blows up the whole plan. All right. So narrow it down, do your homework, ask questions, and remember, especially on the internet, that more than likely, if you hear about, gloom and doom, more than likely they're trying to sell you something. And keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And tell us about your podcast also, Business Owner's Guide to Money.
My forecast?
Podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry, podcast. Yeah, it's on. My apologies. It's on all the regular sites, so Apple and Spotify, and all that. We generally try to keep the podcast down to about 25 minutes, give or take. And we talked with a lot of people on things like decreasing your taxes. We had a really neat program on growing by acquisition. Like I was talking about before, where if you want to grow really quickly, you find a company that is similar to yours and just buy it. And now suddenly you're 3 times as big. Well, there are dangers there too, right? So we do that as well. So we cover anything having to do with money and business, and then we oftentimes see that spilling into their personal finances. And that's just a part of life. Business owners, we have great compassion for business owners because there is just so much going on, and it's almost unfair because if you're a chiropractor or a truck driver or a florist, you might be great at all of those things, but being a business owner is its own skill set. And you have to learn a whole new language, and you don't have to do everything. You can push some stuff to other people, but you still have to be conversant in it because this is your business and your money. So as a business owner, you have to take care of both sides of that coin.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's the best way for business owners to connect with you so that they can make the best of your advice, how they can know more from you?
Thank you for that. Go to Alpha, the number 4 business, alpha4business.com. That's the site. It'll go over a lot of information that we've covered. My email is Ryan, RYAN, at alpha4business.com.
Absolutely. My last question to you, Ryan, is you have seen money from close. You talk about money, you advise about money. People say smart money. People say you got to be smart to make money. What is money? Again, I'm asking, is it a friend? Is it money? It's the money that is smart. Is it that you got to be smart to earn money? Is money your enemy? What is this money thing all about?
Another super question. Here's the deal. Money means different things to different people, and money and the amount of money that you need to be happy is different for different people. So all I can say in that direction is, plan. Be very careful, and please be humble when you're putting these plans together. If you get into money, if you get into things like investing and retirement planning and all that, for yourself or for your family, you're going to run into so much garbage. As you go on the internet. I'm sure you know that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. Stay humble and stay centered on who you are. Do you really want to sacrifice that much? Money is a tool, but it's not your happiness. And be smart. And the smart part is planning ahead and knowing, okay, I've done my budget. There's the dreaded B word. I've done my budget. And now I know I've got this much money that I can invest every month. I'm not going to do a penny less or a penny more. You don't stop. Don't go for any crazy ideas, and commit to it. Please commit to it. And that's smart. That's the smart part of this.
That's the smart part of it. With these words of great wisdom, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.